Georgia decides to hide the secret from her parents. Sam requests permission to take Georgia out on the town that night. Afterwards, Georgia, being in a hurry, leaves behind her phone and walks out of the house to attend a college Christmas party. An android named Eli, owned by the Olsons, wishes Sam happy Halloween instead of Christmas, thus signaling that something is wrong. At the party, an android waiter named Daniel approaches them and offers them all a drink. Georgia asks Sam about her phone, which she forgot to take when she left it at her parents', and shortly after they get into a fight when Georgia tries to drink while pregnant. She then goes to the bathroom and tells her friend Sarah about her pregnancy. During that time, they suddenly hear a shrill screech, and Sarah drops her phone, which immediately starts to glitch. As soon as the sound has been muffled, they hear a commotion downstairs. They witness the android, Daniel, who turns violent, attacking their friends. He then goes after Georgia and Sam. They are almost killed by Daniel, but one of their friends saves them by hitting him with a baseball bat until he dies. Due to the glitch, smartphones start exploding, killing their users. On the streets, Georgia and Sam witness the doom. The androids continue their attack, bringing down all electronic defenses and eventually destroy New York City. 9 months later, Georgia, expecting her baby, has taken shelter in the forest with Sam. The couple are trying to get to a fortified Boston. They have heard rumors about a boat that is transporting new mothers to Asia, where they can find a peaceful life. Boston is surrounded by a no-man's land full of androids. They avoid all roads and travel through the woods until they reach a military camp, while Georgia gets examined by a Dr. Howe, who informs her that the baby is way past due and that Georgia should not be traveling at all. The doctor also tells Georgia that the boats are now only taking babies and mothers, no fathers, due to scarcity of food for the crossings. Sam approaches a soldier, asking if there are any ways to reach Boston, but the soldier is displeased as Sam is trying to run away from the enemy. Later that night, Sam and Georgia are discussing their options in their tent. Georgia wants to deliver at the camp, where they have shelter, but Sam says that crossing the no-man's land with a baby will be impossible, so they need to get into Boston before the baby arrives. Georgia says that Dr. Howe told her the boats are taking only mothers and babies, so he might not be able to go with them. Sam admits that he can accept this as long as Georgia and their child are safe. Georgia then becomes emotional, thinking that Sam is deliberately letting go of his responsibility. After that, Sam leaves the tent to go out and find a way to get a ride to Boston. Sam approaches the soldier from earlier, who is in a drunken state. The soldier challenges Sam to a fight and says if he wins, he and his lover will be accompanied by a group on their way to Nashua the following day. This will reduce the distance between them and Boston. The arrogant soldier appears to be quite confident, as if he is certain he could beat the small Sam, but in reality, the opposite happens. The next morning, Georgia is awakened by a female officer. Georgia is then taken to meet the commander at the base. It turns out that Sam has been arrested for causing the soldier's skull to crack and blinding him in one eye. The commander orders Sam and Georgia to be expelled, despite knowing she is pregnant. They are forced to go through the dangerous route that may harm the womb. Nevertheless, they continue their journey through the rainstorm. As soon as the rain stopped, they started traveling again until they came across an abandoned house. Inside, Sam looks for and finds a mattress so that Georgia can sleep comfortably, and he also finds a printing camera in the process. After making one shot, Sam's left with one more chance remaining to snap a photo of himself and Georgia with their child after the birth. Before going to bed that night, Georgia looks at the route maps, while Sam reads a medical dictionary to learn more about childbirth. Since the Boston surrounding area is under siege by androids, the only way to get there is by sea. Georgia determines their route, which is the northern route through New Hampshire, before continuing on to Portsmouth and finally arriving by boat in Boston Harbor. They can travel way up north and find a boat back into Boston Harbor. This is safe, but will take 2 weeks. Or they cut straight through no man's land for 20 miles and reach Boston within 2 days. Sam finds a motorcycle and fixes it up. Sam wants to go straight through, even though Georgia argues the bike will create noise and attract attention from androids, and they should go on foot. But he assures Georgia that once the baby arrives, it will be noisy as well, so they may as well take their chances now. The following day, the couple are able to travel much quicker on the bike. While stopped at a river, they are spotted by an android, who pursues them. Soon, other androids start showing up. Georgia manages to shoot one of them down, but several more androids give chase, accompanied by drones. Sam drops off Georgia and tries to lure the androids away on the motorbike. Meanwhile, Georgia meets a camouflaged man who offers to help her. He turns out to be an AI programmer who tells her that the androids have learned to hack their own software. He introduces himself as Arthur. Arthur tells Georgia that androids want to wipe humans off Earth and warns her to forget Sam. Arthur is very emotional about Georgia's coming baby. In the morning, Georgia awakes to contractions. Arthur gives her a camouflaged vest and explains that the androids see UV, heat sensors, and night visions. He claims the vest is created to be against all that and will make her invisible. He further warns her that they can still hear and smell her. He offers to take her to Boston, but she tells him that she needs to find Sam first, and so he leads her to where her partner is being held. They approach a building patrolled by androids, from which cries of pain can be heard. Arthur then gives Georgia his camouflaged vest for Sam, as he has only two, and leaves the area. She walks through the building, looking for Sam, unseen by the androids. She finds him in one of the rooms, with his legs badly broken. While she is freeing Sam, another prisoner tries to draw the attention of the androids. Georgia drags Sam out into a large garage, while the androids are chasing them. She collapses from contractions. And just as they are about to be apprehended, Arthur intervenes, stabbing an android and saving them. After that, they quickly go to Arthur's truck, where Georgia goes into labor. Moments later, she wakes up in a hospital bed, with Sam beside her. The doctor informs her that Arthur is currently resting because he passed after bringing Georgia and Sam into the Boston protection camp. She then tells her the C-section delivery went very well, and hands her their baby boy. The couple name their son Forrest, and Georgia shortly discovers Sam has had both of his legs amputated. After that, a representative from the military begins to interrogate them. Georgia tells the officer what she and Sam have been through, and mentions the vest that allowed her to avoid detection by androids. She explains all about the technology to the security officer, but he is both shocked and confused, because the technology described by Georgia never existed. He tells her that if it did, they would be using it. Upon hearing that, she suddenly remembers Arthur's words and realizes that she has been tricked and admits she made a mistake. Moreover, it turns out that Arthur is one of the androids who only used her as a pathway so that they can sneak into the Boston protection camp. It is proven after the interrogation is over, and the officer checks the bed where Arthur's supposed to be lying on, but finds a nurse dripping in blood. Shortly after, the power goes out and screams are heard as an army of androids begin to attack the Boston camp. Sam, on the other hand, has fallen asleep due to the injection of the medication. Georgia covers him with a cloth and tells him she will come back after getting help. Georgia realizes that Arthur's goal is to disable the EMP, which is a weapon against them. She then goes out with her son. Georgia then rushes through the gunfight between the soldiers and the androids, picking up a gun on her way. She manages to get into the EMP room, but Arthur suddenly appears from behind. Arthur states that Boston will fall down and threatens to kill the child if she does not assist him in disabling the EMP. Then, as Arthur continues to approach Georgia, she fires the gun repeatedly at Arthur's head until he falls down. And as he reveals his true robotic face, she fires the final bullet, killing him instantly. After that, the other androids begin to show up, forcing Georgia to hold the door. Finally, she manages to jump and activate the EMP. As a result, the blast generated by the explosion causes all the androids to collapse and die. Georgia wakes up again in the patient's room next to Sam and Forrest. Georgia then takes the last remaining film camera and takes a photo of them. Before the conditions worsened again, Sam invites them to immediately go to the harbor to get an evacuation ship. When they get there, there's a Korean ship that is just about to leave the harbor. Unfortunately, the officer explains that Korea will only take the baby, not the parents. It's not a matter of space on the ship, but they are another mouth to feed, and once they get to Korea, they will need a job in order to survive. As they notice the state of Sam's amputated leg, they are not sure that they can survive there. Sam can understand the situation and pleads with Georgia to let Forrest go with the officer. He convinces her that the baby can get a better life in Korea than here. Georgia signs the letter of terminating parental rights provided by the officer with a heavy heart. She also writes a letter to her son so that he can read her sadness at being separated from him. After writing the letter, she advises the Korean officer to find parents who would care for and love her son. At this point, Georgia can't hold back her tears, and she sobs heavily as her child leaves. In the near future, Georgia tries to leave all the sad memories in her life while burning a photo of Sam, but she chooses to keep the photograph of herself with Sam and Forrest as the most beautiful moment in her life ever to be a mother. Georgia is now living on her own, and the movie ends as Georgia gets in a truck with a group of soldiers heading to Portland, where they have built a base there to protect the survivors.